Spain is a country divided. Even though Spain's fascist dictator General Franco died in 1975, many issues that divided Spain still exist. There are many in Spain that would rather not be a part of it, and like the rest of Europe, the far right is on the rise, but we'll get into that later. Spain is run by Pedro Sanchez, who won the 2019 election with a whopping 28% of the vote, and with the next election coming up no later than December 2023, Spain is still dealing with some major issues. Issue 1. The economy. For this section, I'd like to thank my Spanish friend Mark. This is his Instagram, so go and follow it. The Spanish economy is facing some significant challenges, including high employment rates, low productivity, and a high level of public debt. As of March 2023, the Spanish inflation rate is 2.4%, which is 0.9% higher than the UK. Job opportunities are drying up. Just 2 months ago, in February 2023, Ford announced they were cutting 1,100 jobs from the factory in Valencia, which is yet another blow for the Spanish car industry. Like a lot of European countries, the middle class is shrinking. One problem causing this rise is the rise in taxes, which has gone up exponentially in the last 2 years in Spain. This month, Pedro Sanchez announced his government had a plan to combat the housing crisis. He announced they will turn 50,000 toxic bank assets into public housing. These toxic assets are a result of the 2008 financial crisis. During the late 2000s, many banks were going crazy building new homes, creating a huge housing bubble. However, this all collapsed after the financial crash, leaving hundreds and thousands of assets toxic. The government of the day took the assets off the banks and put them in one company. Some private investment took place buying up these properties. However, to this day, 46,000 properties still exist in one company. The government claims they will turn all of these into social housing and somehow find another 4,000 to go along with it. A lot of these homes, however, are unfinished and abandoned. They are not located in the best areas, and a lot of them were built as second homes or holiday homes, and they're not in a good location for Spanish families to live. This brings us to another major issue with housing in Spain: squatters. 14,000 squatters inhabit these homes, and they're not leaving anytime soon. Government plans to get these squatters to sign cheap contracts for these houses. Many argue that the high prices of rent are causing people to squat, and it seems as though the government slightly side with the squatters. And this forces everyone's favourite people, landlords, to accept lower rental prices for the people refusing to pay up. The government also announced another 43,000 homes to be financed with EU funds. Curse you, evil EU. Issue 2. Rise of populism. There are many polarising issues in Spain. Despite Spain being run by a centre-left and hard-left coalition, many in Spain are worried by the rise of far-right parties like Vox. The party performed well in rural areas like Andalusia, with the economy performing badly in issues like increased migration from predominantly Morocco and trans issues. They are on course for another successful election. Spain has some of the most relaxed LGBT laws in the world. This was recently updated, and Spain's government passed a package of sexual and reproductive reform. These laws include paid menstrual leave, and Spain are the first country in Europe to allow menstrual leave, so this had widespread support. However, the new trans law means that anyone 16 plus can change their gender on all official documents. Children aged 14 to 16 can also do this with parental approval, and even 12 and 13-year-olds can with special medical dispensation. Many on the right are upset with these laws, and even want to ban children entirely from transitioning. This has led to the toxic and extreme ideologies that are dominating the Spanish political discourse. This kind of moral panic is masking the real issues causing poverty levels to rise. It could be argued that the government is using this as a distraction tactic to its left-wing base, so they don't focus on their poor economic record. Spain's Conservatives are also not happy with abortion being allowed to 16 and 17-year-olds in public health facilities. But this isn't a Spanish problem. Religious people, especially old religious people, do not like the fact that women can choose what they do with their own bodies. The rise in fascism in Spain is something to be concerned about. Just last week, the Daily Mail reported that protesters were making fascist salutes as the body of the founder of a fascist Spanish movement was dug up and moved from the famous Valley of the Fallen Mausoleum. Jose Antonio was the founder of the fascist Falange movement that supported the Francoist regime. The modern party of Franco is far-right party Vox, from fronted by Santiago Abascal, who is thriving off this division. After making historic gains in 2019, with culture wars dominating Spanish politics, they look to be in a strong position. Vox was only founded in 2014, however by the year 2019 they had won 12 parliamentary seats in the regional Andalusia election. Vox supporters have even been seen chanting for the days of Franco to come back. You can't mention Vox without mentioning Morocco. Spain and Morocco have had a long and controversial past, however it is getting even more complicated. On one side, you have Pedro Sanchez who, despite not being backed by many even in his own party, has claimed that Western Sahara is part of Morocco. This did not go down well in Spain and many are really angry. Far-right parties like Vox see Morocco as their enemy. Vox states that they are an anti-Islam party, which if they got into power would be a problem for Muslim Morocco. They are also accusing Morocco of not doing enough when it comes to illegal migration. Most illegal immigration to Spain goes through Morocco due to its close proximity. It is important to mention while on paper Morocco is a parliamentary monarchy, it is far from democratic and has been ruled by King Mohammed VI since 1999. In the past, these kind of debates could have been had in Spain, but not anymore. Like America and Britain, stories of families being ripped apart due to political disagreements is all too common. Issue 3. Breakaway regions. First off, I have to point out that in Catalonia especially, the independence movement is fizzling out slightly. This has to do with the current government doubling the funding to Catalonia than the last centre-right government. Not only this, but all the arrested Catalan politicians have been pardoned. A real example of the drop-off in support is how many people flood the streets for Catalan Day on the 11th of September. In 2017, the crowds were 4 times that of 2022. All that aside though, they have a distinct identity. I recently visited Barcelona and speaking to the locals, they talk of their pride in being Catalan, their language and their cultural differences. They were invaded in 1714 and have never assimilated into Spanish culture. Franco has left a major impact on Catalonia. This can be seen in the famous Barcelona bunkers, where rebels used to hide out, which is now being used by young Catalans to drink and watch the sunset. Franco banned the language, even banning Catalan names, but the people endured, and even Johan Cruyff, who was a Dutchman by birth, stood defiantly naming his son Jordi, a Catalan name, during his playing time for Barcelona. Franco even sent labourers from Andalusia to Barcelona to dilute the culture. A descendant of this forced migration is everyone's favourite well-dressed footballer, Hector Bellerin. Catalonia isn't the only part of Spain wanting out. There's also the Basque country. Basque independence movements have been around since the 19th centuries and have gone through similar issues with Franco as Catalonia. The difference is, however, the threat of terrorism Spain faces from the group ETA, who fought a guerrilla war from 1959 to 2011. Over this time, ETA killed over 800 people, including politicians, police and members of the Spanish army. In April 2017, the militant group revealed the locations of its weapons and said it had completely disarmed. This came just under 10 years after a decision on the 5th of September 2010 not to carry out any further attacks. In January 2011, ETA declared a permanent and internationally verifiable ceasefire, but refused to disarm. However, the story of Basque independence isn't just ETA, and like Catalonia, the Basque country has its own language, Basque, which is one of the most compelling arguments for wanting independence. The language isn't related to any other language group in the world, the only language where that's the case. It's the oldest language in Europe, alongside its people. Records show that Basques are the oldest ethnic group in all of Europe, and lived on Spanish soil centuries before current ethnically Spanish people did. However, only 2% of Basque natives are said to want independence, according to a recent poll. In conclusion, Spain is extremely divided when it comes to politics, class and language. It'll be interesting to see the results of the upcoming elections. Thanks for watching, smash like and subscribe and comment "I love you Lewis" for a chance to win my approval. Sorry for any mispronunciations and I hope you enjoyed the video. Adios!